Well, good morning. So next morning, I was dropped anchor right here in Cedar Key, right off of that little island here, Spoil Island. Got pretty close, about 3 feet, 4 feet of water. Dropped anchor, had a pretty good night. Nothing unusual to report. Uh, what I've done is I've already picked up the anchor and I'm getting ready to have breakfast also. And I'm getting ready to leave, and I'll be heading to Homosassa Springs now. Uh, Again, that's going to be another short run, so the tape is not going to be too long today. So, uh, just like I do every morning, I did check the weather. It's supposed to be another good day. Seas 1 foot or less, and winds are less than 5 knots. So, should be a nice little trip all the way into Homosassa Springs. And it's probably only about 3 hours, maybe 2.5 hours away. So I kind of decided I wanted to stop in Homosassa Springs instead of going straight into Tarpon Springs. Uh, Mainly because I've been to Homosassa before on other boats, and I enjoy the little. It's a nice little place. The river has a lot of nice, good restaurants, beautiful water. Kind of a little quaint little town. Plus, there's also a place called McRae's where I want to probably stay a day overnight, and they have a little hotel room right at McRae's there, right behind it, and it's fairly inexpensive. And we've stayed there before, and it's very reasonably priced, under $100 for an overnight stay, and they're very nice, clean little rooms. So I've decided to go ahead and take a break and stay there overnight, sleep in a full size queen size bed, which is a welcoming uh, situation for me. But anyway, uh, we're gonna start taking off here. I'm setting up my settings and making sure I got all my depth sounder working, GPS working, VHF working, and also had to set up my compass reading so that I can head out and go to Homosassa Springs. Once again, I'm only going out about 4 miles I'll follow the coast all the way south to Homosassa Springs till I hit the channel markers, and then I'll go in there. And I should be in pretty early, so I'll have time to kind of run around there, and I am going to pick up fuel while I'm there. Since I kind of, after I thought about it, I thought, well, I don't know whether I could make the run all the way to Tarpon Springs without picking up fuel. So I know there's fuel in Homosassa Springs, right there at McRae's anyway. McRae's is kind of like a little tiki bar out on the water type place. They have a food trailer there parked right next to the tiki bar, so they also serve food. It's pretty good. I can't complain. Uh, Homosassa Springs also has what monkey, they call it Monkey Island, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 4 monkeys or 5 monkeys, and they live on this little island right on the river itself. And everybody, has donated to put a little bit of housing for them there, and they got swings and ropes and everything so that they can have playtime there. Uh, and I think somebody comes in and feeds them once a day, I guess, whatever they feed. I know I saw some people one time, or a person come in one time, and they were throwing them vegetables and fruit. So uh, here we are in Homosassa Springs. I just picked up the fuel, and I've actually already been here all day. So this is the following morning, and I've decided there's a boat ramp right there where you can bring your boat and put in right there. Monkey Island is just a little bit forward of this place here. You can kind of see part of it up there in the middle of the lake there. I mean, the middle of the river there. This is a new restaurant that I had not seen before since the last time I was here. Uh, I thought of maybe trying that, but because I've been to McRae's and I kind of like the food there, I decided just to go to McRae's and eat here and eat there. You also have a marina right over there, right in front of me. But uh, this is the day after I got into Homosassa Springs. I only stayed there one day, and I stayed at the hotel right behind the tiki bar here, where you'll see the tiki bar here shortly. Uh, they have some real nice docks also. Because I stayed at the hotel, I was lucky enough that I didn't have to pay for the overnight dock slip. Uh, I didn't have to pay for it during the day because if you go and grab something to eat there uh, at the tiki bar, it's free. You don't have to pay. The only time you have to pay is if you plan to stay overnight, um, which I was going to pay to stay overnight. But then I decided, well, it'd be nice to stay at the hotel. And I know it was, I knew before from being here that it was fairly cheap. So I decided to go ahead and stay at the hotel. So they went ahead and waived the fee for the overnight boat dock, which was nice of them. A lot of times, a lot of places, they'd still charge you because you're going to take up a space. They will automatically charge you. But these are nice folks here at McRae. So if you ever happen to be here in Homosassa, there's a couple places that I've visited here. One of them is here in McRae's. As you can see, you're shortly going to be seeing here the tiki bar there. And right behind there is the hotel, as you can see there. And so they have this, real nice tiki bar sitting outside. Here's where you can see the tiki bar now. This is one place where I enjoy coming to eat. There's also another place called the Freezer. The Freezer is basically, they're known for shrimp. You can buy a big bushel of shrimp, more than you can eat. And it's fairly inexpensive, good price. By the time you get your drink and a bushel of the shrimp that they serve there, my wife and I both had one order, and we were still not able to finish it. Of course, you had your drinks, but I think all in all, it was, I don't know, $15 or something like that. So under $20 total. That was a good deal. And it's a good place, like I said. This is a River Haven Marina here. I've never been to this marina here. McRae's has a fuel pump, as you saw when I was pulling in the beginning of the video here, which is where I put fuel. But this is another place here where they also sell fuel. But since I figured I was already at McRae's, I might as well just put fuel there. And wasn't that big of a deal. But we're going to be heading out now, as you can see. It's a long run from here all the way out to the open water again. And then from here, we're heading out to Tarpon Springs. Most of what you're going to see now is just heading out on the channel on the river here. Most of the river here, until you get up quite a ways, is a no-wake zone. So we're not going to be traveling very fast. And that's normally what takes a while to get out. As you can see, we're not moving very fast. But have to obey the signs. It was a nice trip. I enjoyed Homosassa Springs. And now it's starting to kind of hit me that I'm almost home. Uh, I'm from here. We're going to Tarpon Springs. Uh, my guess right now is I'm going to stay there at least 2 days. Might make it 3 days, depending. Tarpon Springs is a very nice, beautiful little town that I love to go to and visit. Mainly because it's got a lot of Greek history. I'm not a Greek, but a lot of Greek history. A lot of stories about sponge diving and how they came to be and how the Greeks ended up there in Tarpon Springs. So it's a small little history town. They get a lot of visitors also. So that's kind of why I decided I might stay uh, 2, maybe 3 days. Haven't decided yet, but once I get there, I'll decide. Tarpon Springs also has a nice little marina, a city municipal marina that's real nice. Uh, I enjoyed staying there. I've been to that marina before. As a matter of fact, when I did my dry run on my boat before I started the Great Loop, I put the boat in and I ran it up to Tarpon Springs, stayed there a couple of days, and then ran back to Tampa Bay. Uh, just kind of checking, make sure the motor was going to run okay, everything checked out fine. So it was kind of like a small little dry run. It only takes a day to get out here and then a day to get back to Tampa. So it wasn't a big deal, but it was a nice run just to kind of make sure everything was going to run okay. Also gave me an opportunity to see what kind of mileage I was going to get on the long runs, so that I could kind of calculate what my fuel range was and all of that. It ends up being not too bad of a fuel range either. So, but anyway, uh, as you can see, we're still going slow. Got to keep a no wake zone here. So, but it's very beautiful scenery anyway. So it gives you something to enjoy while you're slowly going by. I took a lot of pictures of the little areas as we were going by them and stuff like that. A lot of different kinds of birds all over the place. Uh, you see all kinds of different little things here and there. So it's not bad. I mean, just because you have to go slow doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. And it's a beautiful view anyway. You can see the sky is pretty nice. It's going to be a pretty nice day today also. So I'm not really worried about what kind of weather. I did check the weather this morning, by the way, before I left. And like I said, it wasn't bad. So hopefully here we probably have a 3, maybe 3.5 hour run today. It's going to be a short run because I'm not that far away from Tarpon Springs. And then actually from Tarpon Springs, we'll go straight into Tampa Bay, which is my home port and the end of the line for me as far as doing the Great Loop. I've had right at about 7 months, 10 days, maybe, probably, what I'm going to end up being out. Normally it takes a little bit longer if you're on a bigger boat with a trawler where your average speed is 8 knots, 7 knots. My average speed averaged out to about 13, 14 knots. So I was able to go a little bit faster, mainly because a two-stroke outboard are not really meant to run at idle speed too long. You can foul out your plugs that way. So I kept my speed up. I learned that the hard way, but I kept my speed up for that reason. I didn't want to foul up my plugs. But it also, of course, put me ahead of everybody. I was passing boats that were doing the Great Loop the whole trip. And it was nice. I enjoyed the trip. Could I have made it longer? Yeah, I could have made it longer had I stopped at different places, maybe seen other things. I didn't stop in New York except for overnight anchoring. But I could have stayed there maybe a couple of days and enjoyed New York. But I wasn't sure my time frame. So far, I was right on my time frame as to, they said, well, you're supposed to be heading back south in September, and you should be in Chicago heading down by September. So that was kind of my goal, was to get to Chicago before September so I could start heading down south. And that's basically so you don't get caught in the winter and the cold days up there. So, but it worked out. I was able to make it. But like I said, if I had to do the trip again, might be stopping maybe a little bit other places. Uh, if I could do the Erie Canal trip, I'd love to do that trip again. And it was 350-mile run, and it was beautiful. I really loved doing that run. Weather, pretty much don't have to worry about it. Even if you got strong winds and rain, it really doesn't affect the waters in the canal. At least it didn't while I was there. The whole time I made that whole 350-mile run, every day was a good day for running. I was able to keep running every day. And that's one thing I wish I would have done, is maybe stopped at a little bit more, those little towns that I went by, and kind of maybe picked up a little bit more information about those towns, because they were pretty nice. Here we are almost heading out. We should be able to start picking up speed here shortly, because we're getting toward the end of the river here, and going to be getting into the mouth of the river. Once we get there, of course, you're in open water then in the Gulf, and then you can go as fast as you want. But for right now, it's still a nice little trip, and I'm enjoying it. Very beautiful area here. A lot of things to see as you're going by them, and very enjoyable ride. Whether you're here doing it for today, or you're running every day, or whatever. You can see these guys here have already picked up speed, which I can, I guess, if I wanted to, and go a little bit faster now. But I'm not in a hurry. Don't have a time schedule, and that's the good thing about, when you're planning the Great Loop, don't put a time schedule to be somewhere or to meet somebody somewhere, unless you really, really know that you're going to be there or around that area, around that time frame in it. But all in all, my trip has been an adventure. I've got to admit. I didn't know what to expect when I left, and it seems like every place I went to was different, and there's so many places where, I wish I could have stopped, or I wish, but I did have as far as trying to get from point A to point B in a day. That was the only thing, was trying to make sure I got to that point. Because I knew there was harborage there. There was either marina there, or it was a nice anchoring spot to drop anchor and not worry about getting run over by the bigger boats and all of that. And it's easy for me to drop anchor somewhere because I only drew 18 inches. I could get into very shallow water, drop anchor, and not have to worry about the big boats coming over and running me over, because they would run aground before they hit me. So I kind of figured, hey, it's nice. One of the advantages of having a small draft was that, that you can sneak into little coves and little creeks here and there, and drop anchor and wait it out overnight, and then take off, get back on the main channel the next day. And I did a lot of that, and that's kind of what, it's kind of like camping. Camping out on the water really is what I call it. Most people doing the Great Loop, they had these 40-footers, average 40-foot trawlers. They're basically bring their own little condo with them, because they've got all the necessities that they need. I kind of call my trip, more of a camping trip than anything else, mainly because of the size of my boat, and of course I'm limited to the things I can have. I did have, I mean, I have a comfortable V berth, which I slept. It sleeps comfortably, two people in there. So I slept in there pretty good. Uh, Never really regretted it. I enjoyed the whole trip and everything. Here you are. You can see I'm starting to pick up speed here. I've gone ahead and revved that up a little bit and gone a little bit faster now because we are getting toward the end of the river here and almost to the mouth of the river. This is about the most I'm going to record right now, and then the next video will be me going into Tarpon Springs, which is where we're heading at now. So I'll be going into Tarpon Springs, staying there a few days, and then from there it's Tampa Bay, where I originally started 7 months, 10 days ago. So that's the end of this film, and we will see you for one more time. Bye.